everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is that time of year again. The Sephora sale is upon us, and I am here not only to give you my recommendations in the form of this full face look, but also my wish list items. So as I go through this look, I am going to be telling you multiple different products per category of makeup, but I'm also gonna tell you per that category some things that might be on my wish list as well. So definitely comment down below if I speak about an item on my wish list and you either love it or don't love it. I would love to hear your thoughts. Or if you have a recommendation that I did not mention for me, definitely put that down in the comments below as well. This is the VIB sale. I will have the dates listed below. Rouge gets to shop first with a 20% discount. And then as the tiers go down, you get 15% off and so on. The Sephora collection will be 30% off during the duration of this sale. So let's go ahead and jump into this look and let me tell you what I recommend and also what I am hoping to pick up from the sale as well. Let's start out with foundation. I'm gonna do my base first and then go on to my eye look. Foundation is, I was about to say probably, it is my favorite category of makeup. I have a lot of foundations. I test a lot of foundations. I love a lot of foundations. My top 3 picks from Sephora are the Haus Labs foundation. This is in my top 5. I adore this foundation. I've used it a lot on my channel. I am in the shade 200 Light Medium Neutral. So definitely search my channel for any of these products if you want to see how I use them if I don't use them today. This is very, very long lasting, bulletproof on my skin, flawless, doesn't look like makeup, a nice natural skin finish. Love it. Next will be no surprise, the Lancome foundations. Both the Teint Idole Ultra Wear and the Teint Idole Ultra Wear Care and Glow. I've done comparisons on these and they're not that different on my skin. So I'm not saying you need to go out and have both of them. I am in the shade 310 in these, but I have both of them and I love both of them. Again, a very natural skin finish and lasts forever on the skin. Another one that I talked about in a Playing With New Makeup video not long after I got it, but I don't think I've talked about it much since, I'm gonna use today, that I really like is the Fenty Eavesdrop Blur Stick Foundation. I am in the shade number 7. The only thing about this is that I imagine myself going through it very quickly. I'm already like halfway through this. It's very easy to apply. I just do a few stripes and then take a foundation brush and stipple it into the skin. This is a perfect cream foundation for me because it is soft enough to blend out easily. I don't feel like I'm tugging on my skin when I apply it, but it also is not too soft to where it leaves a super dewy finish, which a lot of cream foundations can do on me. I don't know if it's really blurring. I definitely have foundations that are more blurring in my collection, but it is very pretty on the skin nonetheless. And very convenient. If you travel a lot, it's easier in my opinion to carry a stick versus a bottle of liquid. So see, dewy, but not too dewy. For concealers, there are definitely 2 that are in my very, very top. They are in my top 5. I cannot recommend them enough. The Lawless Conceal the Deal Full Coverage Concealer and the Haus Labs Triclone, right? It doesn't say on here. I think it's a Triclone concealer, kind of like the foundation. I'm in the shade 21 Light Medium in the Haus Labs, and I have Ballet and Cashew in the Lawless, and both of them work. These are both fuller coverage on me. They both wear really well. I don't even know which one I'm gonna wear today. I'll wear the Haus Labs, just because I feel like I've used the Lawless a lot more on camera. Again, they wear very well. They don't crease and crack. I don't question them ever. And there's some concealers that I like, but I like for certain occasions, like when I'm not gonna have my makeup on for that long, or when I'm wearing super lightweight foundation, or when I need a little bit more color correction. These 2 I can wear no matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of makeup look I am doing that day, they work. And I only kind of put them right there in that like I call it my trough area where it's the darkest, and then I will take it and blend it out. You don't need a lot of either one of these. In fact, you need even less of the Lawless than I used of the House Labs because they have just so much coverage, but they're not drying. A lot of times people with drier under eyes get scared of concealers that claim to be full coverage because they think that that is synonymous with drying. And sometimes it is, but not all the time. And in this case, with these two concealers, they are not drying, at least on me. I usually skip this step on camera, but this is something you can get at Sephora, so I feel like it's important to mention. The Ilia Soft Focus Powder is my powder of choice to use to set the under eyes. And while I'm setting the under eyes, I will go back and tell you my wish list items for the categories that we have done so far since I have completely forgotten to do so. For foundation, I have a couple in the category of that. The Prada foundation, the new Prada foundation, or newer, I've gotten a lot of requests to review that. I went on probably a month ago to purchase it after various requests, and they were sold out of a lot of shades and definitely all the ones that would have worked for me. But when I went back on, when I was making my cart, I noticed that they had gotten them back in stock. So that's on my wish list. The new Ilia Stick Foundation is on my wish list. I'm kind of going back and forth with that because some of the Instagram posts that I've seen from Ilia themselves, it doesn't look that great on the skin. I don't know if I can manipulate it or if it's just something that's happening in translation on the camera, but I still am curious about that because as you can see, I do like a stick foundation. And as far as concealers, I think the one that's most high up is the Say concealer. I had and loved the last iteration of their concealer. It was very, very, very luminous, but it still worked, especially for no makeup days. That's kind of an example of how I said, you know, I have some concealers that I love for certain circumstances. And I really would only have used that one in like no makeup days because it was very sheer to light coverage. So I'm interested to see how this new one compares. The Sephora collection has a concealer that I'm interested in trying out. I don't exactly remember the name of it, but you will see it in the picture. And then Cali Ray has a concealer slash corrector. It looks more like it is a corrector with the options available in colors. It doesn't have the best reviews as far as people with dry under eyes, but I'm still interested in it. So let's go to powder. I have 3 powders that I recommend. One is the Say Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder. It is a radiant powder. It looks more radiant when you swatch it on your hand than it does when you apply it to the face. This one can get heavy if you use too much. You don't need a lot. So as long as you know not to have a heavy hand with this, it's very, very pretty and skin-like on the skin. And it works pretty much with every foundation. Now, if you use it on top of a luminous foundation, you're gonna be luminous, like super luminous. But I do like to combine that with more matte foundations. I think the combo is very pretty on the skin. The Lawless Perfecting Powder Skin Smoothing Powder. This one is in the shade Light. This is a beautiful setting powder. It's also a beautiful powder foundation on its own. I've talked a lot about this. Can't speak enough about it. The one I'm gonna use today is for 2 reasons. I haven't used it in a while. I've talked about it quite a bit in the past on my channel, but also because it's the same brand as the foundation that I use, and I just feel like they're gonna be go really well together. And it's the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation. Again, something that works as a setting powder as I'm gonna use it today, but also by itself. I tend to go for this one more as a setting powder or on top of a tinted SPF because it has more of a light to medium coverage. You can build it up, but it's not as full coverage as some of my other powder foundations. This is in shade number 260. I'm gonna use my favorite powder foundation slash powder brush, the Lawless Multi-Use Powder brush. And I also love the La Mer, which I talk about in every recommendations video. And I just take the powder and I will stipple it into the skin. This one is kind of misleading because it's not very matte on my skin. Now it mattifies the foundation when you first apply it, But you'll see as I go along in the look, my skin is not gonna look matte by the end of this, which is what I like about this. It definitely is a powder foundation that gives more of a skin finish than a matte finish despite the name. I don't have any powder products on my wish list. If you have any favorite powder foundations or setting powders from Sephora, definitely let me know. For bronzers, I love the Gucci bronzer. Talk about that a lot, especially in these videos. I've used it a lot on camera. I'm in the shade number 3. I mean, I would be remiss if I did not include my Hourglass luminous bronzers, not luminous bronzers, ambient bronzers. I have 2 shades right here. My favorite is Luminous Bronze Light. This is it right here. It is luminous. It is mixed in with the Luminous Light ambient powder, which I use by itself as a highlight in my kit. So it's definitely gonna give more of a sheen finish. The diffused bronze light is also very pretty. Again, use these so many times on my channel. And then this one is just one I can't put down lately, as you can see. The Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Divine Bronzer. This is in the shade Bronze Dawn. I'm gonna use that one today. Oh, hello. I thought I shut my door. Hi, how are you? Oh. And I will just stipple that. My forehead. Now, bronzers, I only really have one on my wish list, but I also really love bronzer. So if there are any recommendations, please let me know. The Haus Labs Arnica bronzer, I'm very interested in trying out. I don't know why I have not tried more Haus Labs products, considering how much I love the foundation and concealer. So the bronzer is definitely on my wish list, on my radar for this sale. For blush, also a few options. I talked about, I think in my last Sephora video, my Valentino Eye to Cheek blush. This is in the shade number 8, which I think is called Roman Sky. This is something that's marketed as an eyeshadow and blush, which I so appreciate because really blushes can be used as eyeshadow all the time. I very often do that, and I like how they're marketing this as that. Very, very pretty peachy shade. The Ciel Blush and Protect SPF 50 Liquid Blush. Love this. Definitely search my channel if you want to see me using this. It takes 2 dots on each cheek, and it's a beautiful pinky shade. This is in the shade Kirsty, which is described as a nude, like a pink nude, I think. I believe they have come out with even more shades in this because it was in the new section of Sephora. Worth checking out. Yes, it has SPF 50. It's just an addition. I'm not really thinking I'm getting protection from the sun from 2 dots of blush, but it doesn't hurt. This one, I don't know if I've talked about these in a Sephora video, and I don't know why, because if you've watched my channel, you know how much I love them. The Clinique Flower Pop blushes. I have 5 shades. Pink Honey, which is a beautiful pink. Black Honey Pop, which is definitely darker, but still not too dark. Heather Pop is a pretty mauve. Ginger Pop, this is probably my favorite. And then Nude Pop, which obviously is a nude and goes with everything. I don't quite know exactly the look I'm gonna do for my eyes, so I'm gonna actually use Nude Pop. And this is a very light blush, but it still gives some color to the cheeks. It's almost like a continuation of your bronzer, just in a lighter shade. And it gives a little bit of a sheen to the cheeks, as you can see. Blush, there's a couple on my wish list. The new Rare Beauty Luminous Blush looks beautiful. And then the Haus Labs blush. I've had a lot of y'all tell me how much you love that. So I think I might look into those as well. The Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Radiant Light. My go-to everyday buffing powder after I'm done with all of the powder products. Now, I haven't talked about highlights yet because I have turned into a cream highlight person. I honestly can't tell you the last time I used a powder highlight. I have powder highlights that I love, but I just don't reach for them. And I have 2 cream highlight favorites. Again, redundant, I know, but the Merit cream highlight sticks are just absolutely beautiful, and the Westman Atelier in Nectar. Now, both of these are a little tacky, meaning they don't set down to a powder finish by any means. The Nectar looks way peachier in the bullet than it comes off on the skin. The Merit comes in a few shades. My favorite is Kava, which is like this really pretty champagne. But then I can also wear Bounce, which is a rose gold. And again, it doesn't come off dark or too rose gold. I think I'm gonna use, I may have used this in the last one I did, but I just can't bring myself to care because I love it so much. This is the Westman Atelier Nectar. So I just kind of swipe it on these two fingers and then tap into the skin. This gives a super glowy finish, but I do not get any glitter particles on my face with this, at least none that I can see. Maybe if the sun hit it right in the visor, I'd be able to see it, but I wish you could hear the turkeys right outside my window. It's turkey season, so they're all fanned out trying to impress the hens, and they're literally like right outside my window. I could probably open my window and touch them, and they're out there gobbling. And for highlight, I actually do have a powder on my wish list, and it's the Rare Beauty powder ones. They're not new, but they look like they give a cream finish on the skin, which is what I'm all about. So I'm interested in possibly looking into those. Let's go on to eyes. I always talk about the Natasha Denona palettes, so I will link them down below, but I'm not going to show them or use them this time. I am going to do something a little more simple and just concentrate on some of my favorite Tom Ford quads. This is the time to purchase a Tom Ford quad because they are expensive and the percentage off definitely helps. And then the Laura Mercier Caviar Eye Sticks is something that has been in my collection for years and years, and I can't speak highly enough about eyeshadow sticks in general, just how easy they are to use, how easy they are to travel with, how fast they are to get a very pretty look. I do have one eyeshadow quad on my wish list, and it is a YSL quad. I really am gravitating more towards quads than super big palettes as far as buying lately. But this is the Cream Eye Color Quad in Tiger Eye. The Cream Eye Color Quads are my favorite Tom Ford formula. It used to be the wet to dry formula, which I do still love. But ever since I got Smoky Quartz, I cannot stop using this formula. It is like butter on the eyes. I can't explain it any other way. I have already hit pan on this shade right here. I use it so much. One of my favorite all matte looks, I'll try to find the video that I did and put a card up for it, was using this palette and only this palette. I can't speak highly enough. But again, I do love the wet to dry formula. The Body Heat right here, Nude Dip I have and is in my kit. I use it a lot on brides. And then the Laura Mercier, I have Nude Rose, which is a nude rose shade. Copper, which is my favorite shade. I've gone through multiples of that shade. And then Au Naturel, which is a matte shade right here that's very pretty on days where you just can't be bothered and just want a little bit of a wash of color on the eyes. Again, I don't know what I'm doing today, but let's start with Nude Rose from Laura Mercier. And I'm just gonna put this all over my lid, all over about 3/4 of the way over, because I'm gonna put a little bit of a darker shade there. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of this kind of maroony burgundy shade from the Body Heat quad and put this on the outer corner. Take just a fluffy brush and kind of ease that into the crease a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna do a separate crease shade. And then use this lighter shade right here on the opposite side of that brush just to brighten up that Nude Rose just a little bit. And then take a small little Rephr 13 mini brush and use this very dark shade right here in the Smoky Quartz palette for a little bit of a smoky liner. And I'm really only gonna do like maybe the outer 2/3. Then I'm gonna take the regular 13, go back into that shade that I used on the outer corner and use a little bit of that on the lower lash line just to kind of connect everything. For mascara, I quite honestly do not have but one mascara open right now that you can get at Sephora. And I haven't decided on whether or not I love it. It's the Kosas Big Clean Mascara. I do like how it looks, but it did kind of get on my upper lid a little bit the last time I wore it. But I will link one of my favorites from Sephora, which is the Tower 28, down in the description box. So I'm gonna do this off camera and we will finish off with lips. Okay, so that is the Kosas with 2 coats. Now, one thing I did, this is definitely a thicker, almost wetter formula as far as mascara goes. So when I went in for my second coat, I did not put more product on the wand. I just used whatever was left because it would get very clumpy if I would have done that. So keep that in mind if you decide to give this a go. For lips, a couple of recommendations that I love, but I'm not using today. The Armani Lip Powers. This is, oh, I just love this so much. This is in the shade number 102, which you guessed it, is a beautiful nude. And the Clarins Lip Oils. This one is in Playa, which is this gorgeous pink shade that kind of works with your own chemistry and turns into an even more gorgeous pink shade and feels really good on the lips too. But there's one brand that I just feel like knocks it out of the park with every lip product they come out with, and it's Lawless. Their Forget the Filler Definer Liners are beautiful. I'm gonna use Pink Slip today. I don't often wear lip liners, but I'm gonna be using, surprise, surprise, a very nude gloss. And this will just give it a little bit more pink definition. And the gloss is the Forget the Filler Gloss in the shade Nudie. I used the lavender in my last video, beautiful purpley pink shade. And this is a beautiful nude, which again can be manipulated depending on what color lip liner you use with it. I do not find these to be uncomfortable despite the fact that they are a plumping gloss. They are very shiny, very beautiful. Can't say anything bad about it. Lawless also has great lipsticks. Honestly, anything that they put out lip-wise, and most anything they put out in general, I love. I also have a couple of like skin and hair favorites. I will link those down below. And as far as fragrance, I really love the By Rosie Jane line. I have Lila Lou, which is a grassy pear, perfect for this time of year. And I also have the Travel in Dolce, which I'm gonna wear today. This is like a vanilla ice cream, sweet, little bit powdery scent, which I absolutely love. I have one of them, I can't remember the name of it. I'll link it down below on my wish list. It's a newer one, I think, that I want to try out. But definitely look into the By Rosie Jane fragrances if you haven't already. So that wraps it up. It's probably a pretty long video, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I will have everything that I used on my face and also recommended separately down below, as well as my wish list items. I do use affiliate links, so I appreciate if you choose to use them during the sale to help support my channel. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.